We sell your items online. Go ahead, declutter your life. Have a yard sale or let eBay do the work. From the thrift store shopping to that wallet popping. There are two things in life that are certain. Deathpiles in Texas. Deathpiles in Texas. With Derek Everitt and Adam Beesley.
All right, D-Roy, we are back for another episode of Deathpiles and Taxes. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, if I was any better, it'd be you.
Oh, I like saying that's a good thing. I am doing quite well. It's a good time of year for me, buddy.
Yeah, you were just talking. We were catching up with you and Jimmy in between shows, and it sounds like it's a good time to be Adam.
It's making money season. We got to get back into making money.
I wish I had a season where it was making money. See, I just work year round. I wish there was a good season where, like, I know you work a lot and a lot of hours, but it's like, if you busted between this day and this day, you got a big bunch of your nut. You get a big bunch of your nut together, and then you go and put it away. And you do other, like, throughout the year. I'm not saying that you don't do things, but you have a lot more freedom to where, okay, after this day, I just want to go to New York for a couple weeks or on vacation. Like, you have your time.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty. When you're in school, I got a lot of things I'd reform and change. But one of the things I do in school is I'd say, okay, here's what happens if you go work for the government or the state, and explain retirement programs, pensions. Like, kids don't think this way. Hey, here's if you put money in the stock market now, you're working, start you off a Roth. Here's something, if you become an accountant or some of these, like, school teachers, granted, like, they're always like, well, you're never going to get rich doing, you're not going to get rich doing a lot of things. like, there's very few things. Like, if you start your own business, you might become rich, but there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's some lawyers, maybe some doctors where you can become pretty wealthy and stuff, but, like, that's like, well, you're never going to get rich teaching school. True, but you're going to have a stable job. There's going to be demand. You're going to be able to move. Where I was just talking to a lady that moved from the UK, England, London to Australia and back. She's a school teacher. Mm-hmm. Always got a job. Whether or not you can get into whether or not your credits and teaching experience. I'm sure there's more things I don't understand, but you get your summers off. Now you get paid. Like, people say, we don't get paid. We only get paid for these months and it goes over. But annually, you're making
pretty good dollar,
pretty good money, and you're not working in the summers. Or you can get you a different job or do summer school. There's options there. You get your insurance, you get all that kind of stuff, and you get to retire. Like, there's a lot of different things that just aren't taught in school. And one of them is, like, being an accountant. You're crunching numbers, you're doing stuff, but you have a built-in. Everybody's got to pay their taxes, and you got to do it by a certain day, and they just make it more complicated and more rules. And some people can do it by themselves, and that's great. But there's a lot of people, especially you got these businesses where it's like, they're not huge corporations, but they're not just mom and pop guys on the side of the road. You found your sweet spot, and hey, if I hit it hard from this day till this day, the rest of the year, I can kind of, you can kind of do what you want. And that's a great. Like, to me, that's more valuable. The older I get, the more value I see in that. When you're a kid, of course you get summers off. Of course you get, weekends off. You get spring break. You get all this summer vacations, Christmas vacations. But I've been old enough and I've been working blue collar jobs long enough now to know that's not how the world operates. And if you don't set yourself in that spot, you're just working. And you might get a week here or there, or some days here and there. And I'm kind of lucky to where I'm at now. I get some more days off than I used to, but I've seen both sides of the fence, and time off and being able to go experience things to me is more valuable than working a overtime shift or a double pay shift, just because you can't buy experiences. So
you hit it perfect there, D-Roy.
That's all I'm doing today.
I believe it's you got to make money while the sun shines.
Make hay while the sun shines.
There you go. Make hay while there. You know.
Jerry Sloan and the Farmers.
That's you got some good Jerry Sloan stuff from his farm in Indiana. I look at it the same way as no matter what, you have to file your taxes. Like, there can be all these political things saying they're going to abolish the IRS. Like, if they do, I promise they're still going to get money some way, because we are not going back. I mean, we started the Boston Tea Party revolution over a 2% tax. I mean, if you really want to break it down to Social Security, Medicare, income tax, state tax, real estate tax, property tax, food sales tax, gas tax, I mean, we're well over 50%. Whatever you make, 50% of it goes to some form of a different entity. But the best part is, for me, I've realized, hey, that's just the way the system works. You can either, live with it, fight against it, go to jail, or, find a way to make a living. And that's what we've been able to do. We've been able to make a living on it.
I'm a sovereign citizen. I don't have to do any of this. And then you lose your house.
Derek, it's been nice knowing you. We'll see you in about 5 years. Your place will be gone.
I know a few people that have had, it's not uncommon, especially in these parts.
Oh,
maybe,
no.
I don't know. But there's always a few people that just think, and maybe they're right. Like maybe
They're
technically, well, let's just say maybe technically you can prove it in the law book, and that's how it was wrote, and that's what George Washington meant. And maybe you're 100% right. That ain't how it's flying now. Like
the way it works is you don't pay your property taxes for 5 years. Somebody's going to scoop in, pay those property taxes, and own your house. So
you got to do it. Like, that's kind of a joke. I think a lot of things are kind of a joke, but like you always got, even if your house is paid off, you got to pay your taxes on your house. It's just how it works. Like, is it right? Probably not. Is it what I want? No, I'd like to own, like you never own anything because you're always paying your property taxes or whatever. But what's worse is to put, a couple $100,000 of your life savings into a property and lose it for $10,000 a year because you're just gonna, that's the hill you're gonna die on.
That's why it's Deathpiles and taxes. Because
we didn't work together too much during the political race, which is probably good. And, there was, most things weren't equal, but one thing that both candidates were about was getting rid of taxes, or what they claimed they were about was getting rid of taxes on tips. And I'm with you. Like, I don't think it's not going to happen. Can you imagine if you're like, why won't we all just quit and go deliver pizzas then and not have to pay taxes and declare the value? Like, I think a lot of times things sound good or you say things to people, but it's like, there's no way some of this can ever happen. Like both sides. It's just,
it's just fluff. It's political speak. I mean, everybody says something to get elected, and you can say everything you want, but it's not going to get passed. Just like the, abolish or get rid of student loan debt. Like, you can say that, but the problem is it has to be voted on. And a lot of these things have to be, a 50%, and other things are a 2/3 vote. Like, well, we were just talking about with Jimmy Cheapy Pants. I mean, he's got, several children. To get them to agree on one thing, it ain't going to happen. To make that happen with our government officials, it ain't going to happen. So you can say all you want, but whether it happens or not, it's very, very slight chance of that.
That's what a lot of people don't put into account. They just think, one person, all power, even if you have everybody on the same party in Congress or the House. And that's always, the fight or the debate. And I'm not trying to get too political, but Adam's got a good point. Get 10 of your friends together. And these are 10 of your friends that you like, you agree with. Get their spouses. Make it 20 of you. Why not? Or, a +1. And say, okay, where should we go eat tonight, guys? And, 5 hours later, you're going to be sitting there like, yeah, it just doesn't work like that. So, yeah, you and your spouse, like, or somebody that you're on a date with, say, hey, what would you want to eat tonight? It's usually, that's how you start fights.
Exactly. That's why I've come to the realization a lot of times when we're on vacation, I just say, this is where we're going. I don't give options. I just say, it's Jacob's Pickle in New York, and man,
we yelped it.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, if you want the best eats,
you can find Adam at any man's Pickle, usually in New York.
If you want the best eats when you're traveling, I'm telling you, the number one place is Yelp. Yelp, you go there and you get real people that put in there. They take pictures. They give you real feedback. That's where I do all of my browsing. I will not go to McDonald's. I will not go to Burger King.
But you will go to some man's pickle restaurant.
Oh, I'm telling you, that pickle restaurant. Mesquite, Nevada, on the way back from my trip from the Pac-12 championship last year, me and the big Gerb, we stopped at Mesquite and ate at a Greek place, and they lit our cheese on fire. Flamboyed it. Is that what you call it? Flambe?
I wasn't there. I don't know if you're flamboyant at the pickle restaurant. Or what
oh,
you're doing.
Man, it was so good.
In Mesquite, I go and get me a prime rib or a ham.
Yeah, he's a which lots of hams. That's always good. But I like to venture out and try some new things. It was way good. So
Greek food's great.
I love me some Greece. You ever been to Greece?
I have.
Oh, you have?
I have. Spent about a week there this year. So
yeah, and he's giving me a hard time about spending time in New York. I mean,
I'll give you a hard time. I'm complimenting and say you did it right. I'm saying they should tell kids to do what you did.
Oh, hey, you're changing your residency, which I would like to, but
You
the
should. You
taxes,
spent a lot of time there.
the taxes I can't afford. So
I'm just saying you're a man of the people. You're a man of the world. You've seen Jacob's Pickle and you've devoured.
it was so good, man. Like there's some dang good places out there that I enjoy food. I don't know if I've told you this. That food's
That's
my
why
thing.
I'm surprised when you haven't had a lot of the. I mean, you talk about going to sporting events. You haven't had your cougar tail dog.
I'm trying to cut back on the sweets.
Your mint butterworth,
mint brownie. Oh, I take that. I lied. We did. So the problem, what happened is sharing is caring, but you can't share things sometimes with significant other because they don't know how to share.
So you bought it to share and just didn't have a bite?
So I bought it to share, and I had about a quarter, but then I kind of had a work emergency, and I had to take care of running an off-cycle payroll. It was the last day of the year. So I was doing that, and my wife says, hey, do you want any more? I'm like, no, just give me a second. I'm trying to get this done. And she took that as, I'm going to finish your part. I didn't want any. So I got done with what I was doing. I'm like, hey, where did my part of the mint brownie go? She's, I ate it. I didn't think you wanted it. I'm like, oh, come on now. So
no McRibs. Like last year, you were buying it for the ladies in the office. You were Mr. McRib.
I was sharing. I don't know. I'm
this
just
year
trying.
You got McDonald's down the street and an app that will have it for you 24/7, hot and ready.
It's true.
You've had zero.
Are they still available or is it gone?
I don't know. It was limited time. I don't know.
I know. It was.
I can find out for you, but
maybe that's what we can do for lunch after this.
Maybe.
Go share, split some, break some bread.
Yeah, I'm probably not splitting.
And process. and you did help me out with the onions and cheese. That is a kicker to make it even better.
I shared that with, have you ever heard of the Donut Critic?
No.
There's a man on Instagram from this area. He's called the Donut Critic.
Okay.
And his like some people just think things out. Somehow he's made his gig to where he's kind of like Yelp, but he's just him.
Okay.
So he'll go all across the state of Utah, and he started out with donuts and said, hey, this place is better than that. Like, here's all your spots. But now he just does food, and it's like food in Utah. So
maybe I should be following him.
You should be following him. The other day, he was having him a McRib because he enjoys it like Adam. And I said, hey, you want to make that a little better?
Because he's American.
I said, you go ahead and you put a little cheese on that. You thank me later. And I got some kudos from the Donut Critic. So I do know what tastes good. Like, I don't know if looking at me, you can tell this or not, but Adam says he really enjoys food. If you were to see me in a lineup, you'd probably pick me over Adam enjoying food just by stereotypes. So.
I'm looking up your Donut Critic guy.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm educated, and I don't want to spell critic.
Oh, it's with a C.
Okay, yeah, that really narrows it down. Really narrows it down.
The Donut Critic. He's either Donut Critic or the Donut Critic. Which, I mean, tell him you heard about our podcast.
Yeah, I will.
You went and followed him.
Oh, Donut Critic. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to follow this guy. I appreciate that, D-Roy. That you never know what you're going to get on this podcast. Oh boy, yeah, the raspberry shake up in. Oh man, that's great. Yeah, up in
Bear Lake.
There, Bear Lake. Yeah, the Bear Lake. That's a great thing, man. Anywho's getting back to taxes. It's early January, which means you've got year-end, D-Roy. How's your compilation of all of your numbers working out for you, pal?
I haven't looked.
I know, that's why I brought it
I
up.
haven't even started. I had a pretty good end. Like, fourth quarter was pretty good for me, especially focusing mainly on wrestling cards all year like I've been doing. I think it was pretty strong. Obviously, you can think one thing and do your numbers and find out another, but I'm not as scared to come see you this year as I have been the last couple of years, so that's probably a good thing.
As in not scared because you made more money, or?
I think I made more money. I think I had a better year than I've had the last couple of years. So,
So here's the thing I want to throw at you. I'm like, so you sell quite a bit of stuff, but we're not talking 6-figure sales. You're in the, you're in the mid fives. You sell a lot of stuff.
I try.
You do. Imagine being a business that's, let's just say, I don't know, minimum $500,000 and up to $2 million. Imagine not knowing at the end of each month how well you did.
I can't imagine that.
That's about how.
Unfortunately, I can't imagine.
That's about how 95% of smaller businesses run. They run off of their bank account, which again is, if it works, it works. But that's really where we've kind of focused in on. And I remember really do a better job. I've come out setting goals, doing different things. Unless you write it down, it's just a thought or idea. It's not going to come to fruition. But that's where I really came to the realization is that area is my go-to. That area is my spot. Same thing what you're talking about is there's a lot of people starting new companies. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there. And we're really treating it like this is something you got to do. Like you have to know what your numbers are. Otherwise, you're just kind of, putting your finger up in the air and hoping something sticks. You got to know exactly what your numbers are because when you know your numbers, you can make money or not make money. So that's Deathpiles and taxes, man. That's why we have a job because saying it's not going away, especially if you get into these industries like retail sales because you have sales tax that have to go out. Same thing with employees. You got employment taxes. You got workers' comp. You might have personal property tax audits that people don't know about. That's my one that really chaps my hide. You really want to get me on my high horse. How in the world can the government, you go in and buy stuff, this computer, this couch, all of these things. I pay sales tax on when I buy it, but then I got to go through once a year again and tell you what I have and pay more taxes on that for my personal property? How's that work, D-Roy?
Get that Boston Harbor open.
Jeez.
We're going to dump some tea.
And I know they keep putting the regulation numbers up and up and up. Here's a problem. Oh, man, you hit me on a bad topic.
I got you started.
You got me all riled up.
Go back and listen to who got you started.
I don't know what happens in other states, but in Utah, they're all about triple dipping those sons of guns. You have, like I said, what's called a personal property tax audit. Ours is based on Utah County. That's where a lot of my companies, that I deal with. But you literally have to go in and say what you have. Most of my people, so they have less than, it's like $21,000, because there's a difference. If it's like real property, like a vehicle, because you have to pay to register it, you're already paying taxes on it. That's not personal property. But they want you to come in and list everything. So this person went in and did an audit. They says, hey, you filled this out, but you didn't put anything. Because if it's less than that, I'll put in one line item and say equipment, $10,000. They said, hey, you know what? We're auditing you because we looked at your website and you have a lot more in there than that. And I says, no, you don't know what we paid for that. So it really kind of trickled my pickle. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Jacob's pickle got trickled on that one.
I really upset about that. And I understand, everybody wants to throw one over on the tax man, but there's parts to it that I just don't agree upon it.
Well, there's lots. I'm sure if we broke down the code, I mean, that's just, it's what it is. But what gets me in the reselling world, kind of similar, is, somebody buys an item, they pay sales tax, they go donate it to a thrift store or whatever. I go buy it from the thrift store, I pay sales tax. So that's 2 times on the same item. Then I go put it up on eBay or Mercari or whatever. Hey, guess what? You buy it, you're paying sales tax. So that happens. You get it, you use it for a little bit, decide that you're going to go donate it, and the cycle continues, or you're going to sell it, sales tax. So things get, they get theirs. That's just how it is. But things are going to get taxed. Infinite. If the government could just continue taxing the same item over and over and over, they found that what's the infinite money glitch, I think, is what the kids are trying to.
Ooh.
You're trying to hack the infinite money glitch. If, you just find something and you can just keep doing it over and over, the same process.
That's what you want. So,
sounds like they do it in multiple genres.
Triple dip you, quadruple dip you. They're all about.
If you're gonna dip me, take me out to dinner for a McRib first.
That's right. Well,
or somewhere nice on you.
A Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
The dip, you're not.
The dip cone.
The dip cone. Yeah, not for the food. The dip cone.
Dairy Queen. They should just go strictly dessert. Their food's not good. It's mid at best.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
The burger's not good. And you get some chicken tenders, not horrible, but they're not good.
That's the part. You want to go.
Ice cream's great.
You know what else chaps my hide? Why do we have these events? We went to they called it the Brick Fest because they couldn't call it Lego because the word Lego is, trademarks. They called it the Brick Fest. So we show up there. There's some crappy food. Like And the thing is, it's ridiculously priced anyway. It's $20. Somebody's going to pay $23 versus pay $20. Make it good. Like, make it to where it's like, oh, wow, this was a good experience. Not some crappy nacho.
Yeah, bring in some food trucks or some local. Give us some people.
Yeah.
You know, we should be in charge of everything. Me and Adam should just be in charge of things.
If there was only like some sort of an organization that could oversee all the idiots that are not doing a great job and try to make them more efficient, like that would be really kind of cool.
And if they put a couple like, I don't know, idiots like me and you in charge of
Yeah,
the other ones that
yeah.
said, we know what's best for everybody and we're in charge.
It kind of like a chapter. You could have like an oversight on everything.
Maybe a committee.
Yeah, like a committee, you know, and we have like a sub down. I wonder if there's like any organizations that's really set up like that you have like the top tier that can kind of oversee everything. And then below it, they have like a different segment. So let's just say you had a region. Let's just say you had a small geographical area. And then in that geographical area, you had it broken up in maybe 8 or 9 more geographical areas.
And then everybody that recruited somebody had to pay a certain amount, and it went up to the top of the triangle.
We're not talking about making money on all this. We're talking about improving things.
I was making
We're
money.
talking about making it efficient.
I was Deathpiles.
No,
Money.
we are not MLMing this.
No. I saw the top, and then you're putting a flow chart together, and you know, regions and.
It maybe hopefully like one day they'll be like, I don't know, maybe one of the world's smartest men that could build rockets and cyber stuff. Maybe they'll do something like that.
He'd be from Africa. He'd be an African American for sure.
Oh boy, I didn't want to derail us there, D-Roy. So we've got a little long, like we always do.
That part out.
No, that's good stuff. The people want to know.
I think it's funny that Elon's an African American. It's funny to me.
Well, he's a pretty brilliant guy. He's done stuff that the government could only dream of. So, that being said, D-Roy, there are 2 things in the world that are for certain, and that would be
We will get derailed off the course and death piles and taxes.
We're well within our rights to use this song. We're aware that preaching copyright is wrong. With lots of dedication, we've researched the legislation, and this music has nowhere else it belongs. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement to be seen. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement to be seen. Deathpiles and taxes.